Daniel Wong clutched his weathered leather wallet as he walked into Luxury Motors, his shoes clicking against the polished marble floor. At 72, he still carried himself with quiet dignity despite his modest appearance, faded khakis and a well-worn blue sweater that his late wife Eleanor had given him years ago. The gleaming new cars surrounded him like silent sentinels. Daniel had spent 2 years saving for this moment. After driving the same Toyota Corolla for 20 years, he was finally ready to buy his dream car, a brand-new Mercedes-Benz S-Class. The $120,000 in his savings account represented countless careful decisions and delayed gratifications. "Can I help you?" A young salesman in an expensive suit approached, his name tag reading Ryan. His smile didn't reach his eyes as he gave Daniel a dismissive once-over. "Yes, I'm interested in the S-Class," Daniel said, pointing to the silver sedan that had caught his eye. Ryan snickered, exchanging glances with another salesman nearby. "Sir, this is the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. It starts at $110,000. Perhaps I can show you something more suitable. We have some nice used Toyotas." Daniel felt his cheeks burn. "I'm aware of the price. I'd like to test drive it, please." "Listen, sir," Ryan said, his voice dripping with condescension. "We don't do test drives without proof of funds. We can't risk wasting time with window shoppers." By now, several other employees had gathered, poorly concealing their amusement. The sales manager, Greg Turner, walked over with a smirk. "Is there a problem here?" Turner asked, though his tone suggested he'd already decided Daniel was the problem. "I have the money," Daniel said quietly, reaching for his bank statements. His hands trembled slightly, not from age but from humiliation. "Sir, this is a luxury car dealership," Turner announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. "We serve a certain caliber of client. I'm going to have to ask you to leave before you make our actual customers uncomfortable." Daniel stood there, the bank statements crumpled in his fist as snickers echoed through the showroom. His eyes burned with unshed tears as he thought of Eleanor. She would have squeezed his hand and told him to hold his head high. "Very well," he said softly, turning to leave. At the door, he paused and looked back. "You know, my wife always said that character reveals itself in how you treat those you think can't benefit you." That night, Daniel sat in his study, surrounded by framed photographs and memories. But instead of his usual evening tea, he was on the phone with his son, Ethan, a successful investment banker in New York. "They did what?" Ethan's voice crackled with anger over the speaker. "It's fine, son. I'll just try another dealership." Daniel sighed. "No, Dad, it's not fine. You worked too hard to be treated like that." There was a pause, followed by the sound of typing. "Did you know Luxury Motors is actually struggling? Their parent company is looking to offload them. Their sales have been dropping for years because of their terrible customer service." Daniel sat up straighter, an idea forming. "Tell me more." "Their parent company, Automax Corporation, is trying to sell the dealership for $5 million. That's actually undervalued considering their inventory and real estate," Ethan explained, his voice taking on an excited edge. "Son, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" "I'll make some calls tonight," Ethan said. "We can have the paperwork ready tomorrow." The next morning, Daniel put on his best suit, the one he'd worn to Eleanor's funeral. He styled his silver hair neatly and picked up his old briefcase. This time, when he walked into Luxury Motors, his steps echoed with purpose. Ryan was the first to notice him. "Sir, I thought we made it clear yesterday." "Good morning," Daniel interrupted politely. "I'm here to see Greg Turner." "He doesn't have time for—" "Oh, I think he'll make time," Daniel said, his voice firm but calm. "Tell him Daniel Wong is here, the new owner of Luxury Motors." Ryan's face went pale. Behind him, other employees stopped what they were doing, whispers spreading across the showroom floor. Turner burst out of his office, his face a mask of disbelief. "What is this nonsense?" Daniel opened his briefcase and pulled out a folder. "These are the ownership transfer documents signed this morning. Automax Corporation was quite happy to accept my offer." He turned to address the gathered staff. "As my first act as owner, I'm afraid I'll have to make some personnel changes. Mr. Turner, Mr. Ryan, and anyone else who participated in yesterday's entertainment, you have until the end of the day to clear out your desks." Ryan stepped forward, stuttering. "Sir, please, I have a family." "So do many of the people you've likely humiliated over the years," Daniel replied. I suggest you remember that in your next position. Sometimes the person you look down on today might be signing your paycheck tomorrow. As the dismissed employees sullenly gathered their belongings, Daniel turned to the remaining staff. For those staying, we're going to make some changes. Every customer who walks through that door will be treated with respect, regardless of their appearance or assumed wealth. We'll be implementing new training programs and a mystery shopper system to ensure this happens. He walked over to the silver S-Class he'd admired yesterday. And this will be my first purchase as owner. I trust that won't be a problem? Later that afternoon, Daniel sat behind the wheel of his new Mercedes-Benz, breathing in the scent of leather and success. He placed Eleanor's photo on the dashboard and smiled. "You were right, my love," he whispered. "Character does reveal itself, and sometimes justice comes in unexpected ways." Over the next year, Luxury Motors transformed under Daniel's leadership. Sales increased as word spread about their exceptional customer service. Daniel implemented programs to help seniors navigate car purchases and established a scholarship fund for underprivileged youth interested in automotive careers. Ryan and Turner's replacements were chosen specifically for their track record of treating all customers with dignity. Daniel made sure every employee understood that success wasn't just measured in sales figures, but in the respect and kindness shown to each person who walked through their doors. One day, an elderly woman in shabby clothes walked into the dealership. The new sales team welcomed her warmly, taking time to show her every car she was interested in. She turned out to be a wealthy widow, looking to buy 3 cars for her grandchildren's college graduation. Daniel watched the sale unfold from his office and smiled. His phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Proud of you, Dad. Mom would be too." Daniel looked at Eleanor's photo on his desk. The dealership's success was sweet, but the real victory was in changing its culture. Every morning before opening, Daniel would walk through the showroom making sure Eleanor's framed quote hung prominently near the entrance. Character reveals itself in how you treat those you think can't benefit you. And whenever a customer asked about the quote, Daniel would smile and say, "That's quite a story. Let me tell you about it while we look at some cars."